So mostly in life, we're given clear directions on how to live, um, and really from a very young age, we are spoken to in such a way as someone who knows who we are. We're given a name, and that name is who we are. We are X or Y, Johnny or Mary, and our parents know who they are, and they know who we are. And when we go to school, teachers know our name. They know what we do, and they know how we can become better. And they know how we can get in line, and they just know. And you could say the same applies when we go to college, that there's a way to be, a way to fit in, a way to learn. And in work, we can, progress in work, and there's a way to carry on, a way to turn up on time, work hard, become better. Um, Somebody's saying I'm on mute. Is everybody else here?
I can hear you.
Okay. Um, just used to. And it's like everywhere we go, there's a sort of a way to be, and let's say a list of things that we need to do to become better, and whether it's work harder, try harder, be better. And life seems to be a kind of pathway of becoming, of getting to a place of arrival, of where peace will be. It's like, looking forward to go on holidays to get to holidays, and then it's looking forward to getting home, and it's a journey, and I'm on it, and I'm trying to make my way through life as best I can so that I'll arrive at a place that is better than the place I'm at. And you could say that in this journey, some of us appear to stumble upon a communication, or communications, or some of us appear to stumble upon things like spirituality and or self-help or betterment, and in all of these sorts of ways of being. In actual fact, it's sort of similar. It's somebody who knows what this is, who you are, and how you can become just that little bit better. And the trouble with all those, in a sense, is that they all seem to prescribe something for us to do, and some sort of pathway to follow. And you can, there isn't, there's absolutely zero wrong with any of that. It's just that for the unfortunate few, it seems like all of that, there's something off with all of that. It seems like being spoken to by someone who knows, um, there's just something off about it. And let's just say that there is a stumbling upon a communication like this one, which is, called non-duality. And really, the essence of this communication is that all this you becoming thing, that it points out a flaw with all that. And the flaw with all that is that there is a you. So the suggestion being made here this evening is that there is no you that can become anything at all, no you that can achieve this spiritual place. There's no just simply no you. So um, really, this communication is the one place. I mean, there's others like it, but it's you're not seen here, and there's just and there's no one that sees that. There's no one here talking, and actually, there's no one listening. There's nobody that decided to turn up to this meeting. There's just appearing suddenly, immediately, um, to be hearing a voice talking. And really, this is totally and utterly purposeless, you could say. And it's just what's appearing to happen. So, meeting. And how we describe this is that it's meeting about non-duality. But really, what's happening here is way beyond any kind of language or words or sentences. Um, and that doesn't make it special. It's just that really it's nothing to do with any sentences or understanding, because if it was, the sentences would be understood and there would be a moving on from the sentences to some other thing, like hot yoga or whatever. And so really this is just a kind of a gathering or sharing appearing to happen, and it's causeless. And in a way, these sorts of gatherings expose how everything just appears to happen. That you didn't choose to come here. There's just appearing here, and I didn't choose to send out an email. There was just sending out an email and turning on the computer, and boom, here we go. So let's see what happens. There can be questions about this communication, and if there are, let's just click unmute and go for it, or put a comment in that box there and see what's there to be asked. And let's see what happens. A meeting full of nobodies.
Hi.
Hiya.
So I had a question. I'm Ali, by the way. I had a question. To what extent is this the non-duality version in danger of becoming like a rhetoric, like like other religions that they start with this is what we have to talk about, and this is how we present it, and this is how the answer should be. To what extent? I mean, there are people in other religions also who speak spontaneously without trying to fit themselves into their version of what it is.
Mm.
But I sometimes feel that non duality teachers also try to force whatever they want to say into a rhetoric of non duality, what they have decided non duality is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so there is no non-duality. So really, that's the most beautiful, in a sense, that's the most beautiful thing about these sorts of gatherings. Really, it's nothing to do with the opening gambit of a few sentences, apparently setting the scene, I suppose, as opposed to, we're not talking about football. We're talking about this sudden immediacy, just immediately what's happening. And so then this idea of someone trying to make this fit into something, well, I mean, in a way, really, the words you could say can be mimicked, but the flavor really can't. And it's no one's flavor. And that's why it's nothing to do. You see, really, it's not to do with knowledge, and it's not to do with anything at all. It's just appearing to happen. So it's not like it can be said right or wrong. It's not like it can be spoken in a correct, most eloquent way or wise way or clever way or, you know, because really it's nothing to do with any sentences. The communication at its very core is just the suggestion that there isn't you and life. There's just life, or there's just what is. So, and then that lands or resonates how it appears to. So then really, that question is non-duality, let's just say, or is this neutrality? It is just what's appearing to happen. But no doubt about it, this can be squeezed into a framework of language and where people live by it and use it as a way to live a life by. But there's absolutely really nothing here to live a life by, really. It's not like you can go around going, well, there's just what's appeared to happen, or there's no me that didn't put the bin out. It's such a load of shit. Like, the bin wasn't put out. So the dog shit wasn't picked up and whatever. It's utterly and wonderfully useless. So then these gatherings are just free to be exactly as they appear to be. So
Thank you.
thank
Can I
you.
ask another question or
Uh,
should I?
no, no, absolutely. Go for it, yeah. Go for it, yeah.
Okay. So you do talk about like picking up the dog shit, etc. Doing things like you have a quote unquote you have a something some spectacles on, etc. So, but the same way you can also choose to talk about your inner state at a certain time. So, what my question is, does your inner state vary? I mean, is it that sometimes there is more of a sense of you being there and sometimes less? Or is it one absolute same sort of inner state where there is no you and things flow, everything is flow, and there you, quote unquote, there is only the witness observing things? Or is it that sometimes you feel that there is a sense of you again? So there is in the same way that we talk about the outside world or about our physical selves, we can talk about the inner self as well, rather than just say that there's just say flat out that there's no you. So I'm not
Okay,
sure.
so there's a lot said there, right? But so to start at the very start, there was so I don't choose to talk about my inner whatever, but perhaps if there's a question about that, there'll be a response. So then this idea of a little bit less of me, or maybe there's more me or you, or so there isn't, but there never was, you see. So there isn't a self, and there isn't a self that can drop away. There's just inescapably, immediately what appears to happen. So suddenly picking up the dog shit, suddenly brushing teeth, suddenly appearing, so talking, meeting, and that's what's happening. So you see, this then is all imagination about, and all these learned ideas about witness and all these learned held images of this, like it's a state, that there's someone in there that can just have this neutral sort of, what you call it. It's all just dreams and images held and ideas learned, held like as if they're real and fact. So all that's just a total, all of those are just held ideas and stories. All there really is, you see, is just what's happening. So if there isn't a self there, in there, asking that question, hearing this voice, apparently asking that question. So a question appears to be asked, but that's just what appears to happen. You didn't choose to do that. It's just a question being asked, And then immediately the same response. Now, there might be held ideas there about uh, a non-duality teacher, and more than likely they'll be the idea of a teacher, they'll all fall away with total disappointment by the end of this meeting. And then this idea of a state, they're all, what's left is just what's happening. And it's the exact same as what's happening there, except perhaps the absence of all those held ideas and images and all that. Here, not a single iota is known. So you're talking to the poorest on the planet, beyond poor. It's just that there isn't someone who can even have poverty either. So that's not anything special either.
I could ask, but I feel that I'm taking too much.
That's just imagination there. Ask what's there to be asked.
Okay, so in the see, language always causes a problem. So when I'm asking, uh, I have to use words like you can't be really you can't artificially recreate language. So when I'm asking, certain things come up, but I would like you to understand what I'm trying to ask,
Mhm.
which is that certain feelings do rise within you as well, like certain objects rise within around you. So certain feelings rise within you. So in some kinds of feelings, do they not tend to create that misperception of a self, or is it that no feeling can absolutely create a sense of self again, which is obviously which is not real, or which is an imaginary thing, but it is even if it is imaginary, it is there sometimes for some people. So do some feelings, some kinds of feelings, or some kinds of intensity, some intense
So
feelings.
this is full life, full on juicy aliveness. It's full life, but you don't get to get it. So it's like car pulls out when you're driving along and doesn't indicate or whatever. It's not like the reaction is, oh, it's more than likely you fucking brrr, and beeping the horn. So it's a full instinctive reaction. Boom, gone. So it's not, this is not holy. This is not an image of holiness. It's like it's all characters in plays and imaginations of this someone sitting cross-legged. It's like a priest or a holy uniformed imagination of a state. It's of course it's full on aliveness. That's what this is. Full on uh, anger, whoop, gone. Sorrow, laughter. Like, how do you do laughter? How do you do it? It's just what appears to happen. It's chemically, whoop. How do you do hearing? How do you do thinking that thought? How do you do a tiny little inch of this? It's all happening in total, it's all just happening. But there isn't anyone in there that can grow a fingernail or an eyelash or anything at all or think a thought. So it's categorically not a once removed state. There's just no one in there that can be once removed. So it's
So
so it's already the case then. What you're looking for there just scratched the face and said so and then was interrupted.
So I'll uninterrupt myself. So the illusion of self, the illusion of self persists. Uh, the persistence of the illusion of self is there despite what you may or may not do. So what you're talking about is not at all a prescription of any sort. You're just saying what is. So there's nothing that can be you're saying there's no connection between what you try to do or what you want to do or between the illusion of self vanishing or remaining.
So there isn't a self.
There isn't a but there is an illusion of self.
Is
Ask
there? Oh,
anyone.
oh, okay. Well, there is what is, and if that's what's being said there, if Ali is saying, okay, there is a self, and I know it, and okay, then the response is, okay, well, that's what's appearing to happen. And if Ali starts saying, oh, well, there is no self now, and I know myself has dropped away, okay, well, that's what's happening. But that can't be validated either. There just isn't a self in there. So there's nothing in there pumping that heart and thinking those thoughts. But there is thoughts and heart pumping and breath and looking at the screen with a bespectacled earphone wearing Irish man. So what you're looking for is immediately this this total and utter disappointment of nothing happening. This is nothing happening, appearing full to the brim with the hearing of the words, this is nothing happening. This is it. This talking and that hearing and those thoughts and everything.
Thank you till a question happens again.
Thank you.
If we ask 100 people, I think 99 or even 100 of them will say that they have an illusion of self. Would you agree to that or not?
I don't know. I don't know if they would say they have it. They'd probably say, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. It'd be an interesting question to ask, having a self.
Not having a self, having an illusion of self.
So they are or have an illusion of self.
They will say that they have an illusion of self.
They have an illusion. So who they have an illusion of self. That's what you would say that these 100 people would say.
Yeah, everybody will say that we have to be absolutely honest with ourselves.
Yeah. And so do you
So,
you you have you have an illusion of self.
yeah, there are times when I do, and there are other times when I don't,
So
which is why
who has them when you don't and who has them when you do? Who has those?
that is the whole thing I'm getting to. I mean, there is an illusion of self, whether there is nobody. I understand totally that there is nobody really there. It's
Okay, so
just
so
an
you're
illusion.
saying you're saying that there is and that you have just your the way you're talking that you have an illusion of self. That's what you're saying.
I am saying this mind body, it's not necessary to get complicated and like
No,
that.
no, I just
There's
want you're
this,
saying that you have a self. I just want that's what you're saying. I have
I,
a self. Is
I'm
that
saying
right?
there are times when I don't, and there are times when I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Illusion of self. The self, I understand if it is a theoretical entity like gravity or whatever, I understand that there is no self. But the illusion of
Yeah.
self sticks. Uh, it sticks even no when you have long periods when there is no self. After that, it comes back and it's sticky.
Okay.
And it seems to me that uh, it is related to thinking, for example. The more still the mind is, the less the sense of self is. The illusion seems to drop.
Okay.
The and sometimes in when you go to certain types of people, some some people they make they just the presence makes your mind go so still that you lose yourself totally. You
Right.
forget yourself. So I am trying to understand whether to what extent can one say that certain types of behavior will yield to greater stillness of mind, and so whether it is totally independent of what you do, which doesn't seem reasonable because whoever has claimed that they have lost the self or there never was a self, whoever has claimed, out of those, about 98% of those people have been following some spiritual practice at some point, have been seeking, except for the 1 or 2% who really haven't. But mostly they have been. So I just want to have a, I'm curious about this point. It's not like easy to dismiss that. Okay, there's no self, there never was a self, and all that talk is nonsense.
Mm,
There is something which is there, which is the reason why this search has been going on for so long. It's not like this feeling, this Advaita, Vedanta, and all those things were there before. They were trying to say similar things 3,000 years ago.
mm. So if there is
Yeah,
is there a question in that? Uh,
I
just
had a
Yeah,
similar,
sorry, Stu, can you just give us 1 second? I'll
of
come to
course.
you then. Sorry, Ali, was there a question there? Like, if you know what is sought then is a little bit more peace and a little bit calmness or whatever, okay, well that's what's happening then. And if seeking is what's happening, then that's what's happening. That's what's being described as and felt. Then that's what's being described and felt.
the question that I was building up to actually when I asked whether you think 100 people would say that they have a illusion of self or not, I was saying that, yeah, they would have the illusion of self, and they would the way to lose the illusion of self, not the self. The self doesn't exist. I understand that. But the
Right.
way to lose the illusion of self might be to either talk to people like you, for example, or the way to illusion of lose the illusion of self might be to do some, some kinds of very subtle sort of exercises, or even crude exercises. I don't know. So I'm trying to
Well, you have to do
determine
them.
whether
You have to
there's
be
a,
really concentrating if you want to do those right now.
and I didn't understand that.
I was joking. I was saying you have to be really concentrating on those to do them right. It's like I said at the very start. It's like throughout from when we're very young to right through to sort of this. It's always somebody who knows and who can give you a list of things and practices to get to somewhere else. It's just total. uh, it's total prescriptive. No, it's fine, and but it's for the rare unfortunate few, let's just say, that's sort of being spoken to by somebody who knows who you are and what this is, can describe to you then how to get to a place. So it's a totally different communication. This communication really, in essence, is all that's saying is that there's just what's appearing to happen. That's really at the core of it all. And that's not a prescriptive, that's not, there's no information or anything useful in that. So if all that they're seeking is happening and all that's going on, then that's what's happening. So what? But then if there's, but then there can be total frustration and there can be legitimate questions about this communication. But there isn't a self to fall away. And that's what the communication also suggests. That there isn't. So we're talking about something that's not there. Now, if you're describing there that there you have an illusion of self, then that's what's being described and felt there. But this self thing that you're talking about, this illusion and this you is another story being said and held as being absolutely real. And if that's what's being felt to be the real, then that is what's being felt to be the real. Whereas what comes out of this math is that there is nothing that is real or true or factual, that all there is what's appearing to happen. This boundless, this mystery, this total unknowingness, this total cluelessness, even better, this total cluelessness about what cluelessness is. So
Okay.
what you're looking for is inescapably asking, is as asking that question, is as breathing, is as those thoughts, and is also as, but I still feel like a self, Frank, that needs to fall away. That would also be what's happening, neutrally and completely and totally that.
I always find these meetings interesting. Like I'll have a question brewing in my head, and then before I answer it, I ask it. I know the answer is going to be it's just what's appearing to happen,
Mm.
and I just don't. But I was listening to Ali, and one of the questions I had that I was thinking of posing kind of could be similar to what he's getting at, in that it does feel like, yourself, Kenneth, all the different people who speak about this message have gone to listen to Tony Parsons and have apparently gone through a process. And there's no denying that. I don't know any speaker that hasn't talked to Tony and gone to his meetings and
Mm.
had apparently a time of, sorry, I'm walking the road, had apparently a time of being a person and then, flip flopping in and out. And I guess that's the kind of difficulty to understand, because yes, there is just what's appearing to happen, but yet the supposed people who communicated all went through a process. Yes, struggle for the mind to get your head around that. I don't know
Well,
if
I
adding.
mean, so there's no doubt that when like there's sort of a reluctance sometimes like that idea is the paradox. Having a website suggests something happens. Hosting a meeting suggests something. It is a total paradox that it seems to be unavoidable, and it is a total mystery that this communication is coming out of this gob. Really, it's the last thing. It's the fucking last thing, but it just seems to be something that happens. And there's no doubt about it. Were you to look on the YouTube, it wouldn't be just Tony Parsons. In fact, there would be another 20 odd people that all these chats had. And it was apparently like, I say it's the rare, unfortunate few because really this sort of communication, it would appear like it simply cannot be let go of. And you could say that's akin to the language used in all of head in the lion's mouth that, if it could be got rid of, it would be. If it could be ignored, it would be. If jumping on to watch the next YouTube video and trolling all through that, then or buying books and going to meetings and all that, if all those things could be avoided, they absolutely and 100% would be. But it sort of wonderfully and beautifully exposes that you're at a meeting apparently where there's absolutely zero fucking on offer. So there might be imaginations in that gob there about what will come out of this gob because of whatever sort of apparent knowledge about fucking non-duality. But all the while, this ever freshness of a voice simply talking, not saying fucking anything really, is this fullness that is longed for. So that is to say, this is fucking it. Sound of a fucking voice. And that question and those thoughts apparently happening. That's the unbounded, boundless, fucking unknowable mystery. That's this boringness of just sitting suddenly looking at a screen. That's this. That's what's looked for. This. There's already no one in there fucking operating the sense and imagining what is going to be said here next and whatever. Now.
I think that would be right if it weren't for the cursing.
Oh, see, there's always a way to
See?
do it wrong. There's always a way to do it wrong. To be unholy. Unholy, Frank.
Uncouth, Frank, uncouth.
Mm.
No, no, that's all makes sense.
Does
No,
it,
but
Thank,
Shane?
if it makes sense, it doesn't. It's not real.
Does it make sense?
That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
doesn't make
Yeah,
sense. Never, never, never will.
it wonderfully, it appears as saying then that this doesn't make sense. And absolutely, it does not make any sense whatsoever. Just simply talking and whatever question that this can't be held on to or held by anyone because there isn't anyone. Hold on to one tiny bit. Alas, sadly and wonderfully, not an inch can be held on to. It's flooding through the senses and falling apart as immediately just whatever is.
Do you think, Frank, that this whatever this, what do you call it? This dropping of illusion of self or whatever has has effect on your behavior?
Well, I mean, really, the killer with all that is that there isn't a dropping away of self. That's the fucking killer, That's
But
um,
that is
so
just call it
all that's
once and
left
for
is
all, call it X or something.
all
I
that's
have to have
left.
some word
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I totally understand that, but that the communication remains as it is. And it seems to be utterly the way it is. There's just it can't be watered. You can't put a little apparent drop of dye into it. Then it wouldn't be this communication. It's purely as it appears to be, and it's not fucking mine. It's just the words that come out in response to what's said there. But so then really, um, it's very difficult to say, did anything change? Did everything change and did nothing change? Did the characteristics become more fuller, less fuller? I mean, it'd be just telling a story, but full Frank, without the breaks, probably. But what's that? That's just whatever character traits. that appear to happen. Nothing happens really, but so that's the best that this mouth can do in response to what's sought after there. What's sought after there is something must be different and better. Please fucking tell me something is better and that there's something more magnificent. And really, there's just no one in that can have something better. But there is already no one there that can have this. If there was, they would have it and have it tortured into a structural fucking prescriptive program of how to get from A to B. There isn't A and there isn't B. Everything, including the thoughts. It's everything.
I think the paradox arises from having humans having this body mind having two kinds of brains or minds or whatever. One is something which we are conscious about, and the other is where we are not normally conscious about that. And the unconscious part rises into the conscious, and then we become conscious of it. But the unconscious has uh, has its own communication to give to people. When the conscious mind is not getting in the way, then this kind of communication happens, which we're talking about, where it doesn't matter what the conscious mind is thinking, doing, whatever. But there is the unconscious mind, which is vibrating, which is sending out no energies, etc. And otherwise, there is. I mean, if you meet people who have had this, whatever you call it, X factor, if you meet people, you feel that they have some kind of, peace, vibrations, whatever you will. They have
Mm.
that in common. If they did not have that in common, nobody would be interested in that, because
Mm.
nobody is interested in just talking about things which don't make any sense and where the person is saying that it doesn't make sense.
Nobody is interested in this. Nobody turned up
But
to
you're
this
going
meeting.
back to
Nobody
the
asked that question there. But
okay.
that's really, that is the communication. That's the miracle. That's the mystery. Exactly what was said there is this exactly appearing as that question. So there just isn't anybody in there asking that question. That's all. Just that question being asked. How did you do that?
Okay, let's say there is nobody here
Okay.
and there's nobody there. But like everything is might be, there's nobody anywhere, but I distinguish this mug from another from something like this book. I am able to distinguish it. Similarly, I am able to distinguish certain states from certain other states. It's just a matter of fact that I'm able to distinguish certain states from. So when we talk, we leave aside the whether there is somebody there or not. We just decide that there is nobody there. But on top of that nobody, then we still have variations, and we are still able to point to things. We are still able to point to physical objects, and we are able to point to internal objects.
Mm.
You may not be able to see my internal object, but we still point to it. And
Mm.
you still point to not being, your state being that nothing is there. Nothing is there. And yet everything is there. So we still have to have, we in our communication, we still have to delineate things from one to the other.
Well, we
Like,
don't have to do anything, but apparently delineating like that and naming things is what happens. So all
yeah,
there is really, oh, the best that can be said, the most is there's simply, plainly, just what it is, whatever is happening, including apparently hearing this voice and those thoughts. But you can't, it's not like you can, it's not like the waterfall can stop being the waterfall, or the tree can stop being the tree, or the thinking can stop being the thinking, and the human can stop being the human, or whatever. There's all there is this uh, chaos, this whatever appearing to happen, appearing as form, appearing as computer and bespeckled hat wearing chap, and uh, that this that is to say, just inescapably this. And so then what can happen on top of all that, it seems to be that all of this then is noble. Those words of the cup and the and me and a world and my life and my age, and all of them seem to appear then to become as the real, that there's just this realness. You could say that all words apparently dissolve away, but words appear to be still used. But the realness goes out of absolutely everything, you could say. But that's not a doing, really, and that's not a state to have or be, because everything remains exactly the same, picking up the dog shit. Still appears to happen.
but can I say, for example, that the fewer thoughts or having no thoughts is associated with this kind of state or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so
No
then it's
thoughts,
bound by the imaginations of what this could be, should be, has to be. It's an image held as a state of the way this could be. And it's more than likely linked with a bit of holiness and wisdom too. It's all just images and ideas held. So then it takes the boundless and puts it into a frame of, well, that's what this looks like. And it's like, well, really, it's like I said at the verse, it's nothing to do with the words. It's nothing to do with this apparent suggestion that there is no self. It's just happening. It's just a conversation happening.
but you agree that it does have something to do with the having no thoughts or fewer thoughts.
No, that's just another idea, an image held that there
No,
would be
but
less. There would no, but it is an image held. Like for example, if that's what's being held, though, that there would be no thoughts or less thoughts or only five thoughts or whatever, then that's just another image held, really, of how of what should happen. And so the response to that it is the thinking, it is appearing fully as thoughts.
but I don't think there's ever been, no, whatever, whoever I mean, there's ever been somebody who claims this state who has a lot of, thoughts going on. The
Hmm.
people who claim or who indirectly claim, though nobody really claims the state, but who indirectly seem to claim it, have
Hmm.
very few thoughts in them. The
Hmm.
thoughts are very meaningful and
Okay.
few,
Yeah,
but
fine.
that is a very, very clear association. And then the question becomes how to reach a state with few thoughts, the
Well, you see,
stillness of mind.
look, that is what's happening there then, wishing to get to a state of way less thoughts, right? So that's what's happening there. But there is no response to that. There's no way, there's no suggestion here in response to that of how someone can get to a place of no thoughts. That just doesn't, that won't come out of this gob, because then we'll be back in the game of knowing that I can see someone who can do something about something. It's all just a big dream then. We're back in the game of knowing and knowledge.
But that means that you have kind of made a kind of a line that you're not going to cross. You insist that I'm not going to talk about no thoughts because you don't want it to be part of the game again of the rat
No, I'm
race kind of.
saying that it includes this includes everything. It includes thoughts, just thoughts. It's just breathing. It's just feelings. It's just traffic. It's just sound of a voice. It's just thoughts. And what's wanted there, it seems to be that Ali wants some sort of confirmation that you can get to a place where there's way less thoughts or no thoughts. And that doesn't seem to be validated here at all. Like there's just what's said here really at the very core is that there's just what's appearing to happen, including thinking. And
But can I
of course, then it is thoughts. Of course, it's thoughts then.
can I ask you whether you have your thoughts have decreased over you're going to say that there is no you, etc. But this body mind that is in front of us, have the thoughts in it decreased over time since you started talking and talking about this experience or
So,
not?
uh, uh, so there, I don't have anything.
So see,
So, but thinking appears to happen. Thinking appears to happen.
but less
It's
thinking
furious
than.
thinking. I don't have a log of thoughts. I don't have a log to say it's just thinking, and there isn't a problem about that. It's just thinking, and there was never kind of an imagination of getting to a place really, in spite of all that I heard about getting to a place of no thoughts and all that, all those dreamed ideas was never really a thing. It's just thinking, good, bad, up, down. It's just thinking. It's just rah rah
But
rah.
my question was about fewer thoughts.
Yeah, and
So
so there's no idea whether there's less thoughts or more thoughts. Maybe some days we way more thinking, and other days nothing at all. I don't know. I
no,
couldn't
we have
really.
to.
I couldn't. You want to say like you want me to respond and say how much thoughts? I've no idea. You just desperate for some sort of. It seems like anyway some sort of a thing to say, and that's just not going to come out of this trapdoor. It's not going to come out of this map. And it's not a choice. It's just it's it's just thinking and then trying to compare it to a previous chunk of time. It just seems, you know, I don't have a response to that. It just seems it's like, was there less thoughts yesterday than today? Couldn't tell you. Was there less
No, it's not
breathing?
like that. It's not like
Okay.
that. It's like, were there less thoughts 25 years ago? I can say for myself that they were, 100 times more thoughts 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can definitely, I'm not going
Great.
to, I don't have to think about it to know that. No, yeah,
Right.
I used to have a
Okay.
lot of thoughts and now I
Right.
don't.
Okay. Great. I've got more muscles than I had years ago. Is that good?
No, but we've already sort of, we've already talked about it that the people who claim this kind of, falling away from illusion usually also have fewer thought. You've already said that, yeah,
Well,
stillness
you
of
see,
mind.
that's what so that this it includes all the thoughts when no one's thinking. That's what the communication is, and it's nothing to do with less thoughts or more thoughts. It would appear then thinking appears to happen, feelings, everything. It includes everything. And this only suggestion is that nobody's doing thinking, but nobody's doing thinking already. Nobody's doing less thinking, but there can be less thoughts if that's what's being described there. Okay.
So are you also saying, we're going to say that it has nothing to do with, you don't have greater peace or greater
I don't,
happiness or
so,
greater.
so, so I don't have anything at all.
No, don't go into that place where you
Well,
say
no, but
that
you
there
see,
is
but
no
that,
you.
but that is like, that is the communication. You want to know what I have. And then the response to that is that I don't have anything at all.
The
That's the
body-mind. I'm
response.
talking about the body-mind. I'm talking
Okay.
about Frank, the body-mind. So
Okay.
does Frank, the body-mind, do people around you notice that you are more peaceful, happier, or do they say he's basically exactly the same as before?
You'd have to ask. You'd have to ask. It's just a whole. I couldn't answer that really. It's yeah. I just don't have anything. So I don't have more happiness or more sorrow or less. You see, it's a, that's all seems to be just lost in this story of better, of a more peaceful and more comfortable way of being. And no, that's not the case. What's left is full on juicy life, including the thoughts, including sorrow, anger, laughter, everything.
So
It's
the thing
totally
that I
unstickiness. It's just there's just whatever is. So I don't have anything at all. Unfortunately, really, you see, nothing happens. And that so this communication really, the suggestion being made is that there's just what appears to happen. That's it. Includes everything. Nothing is denied at all.
It's amazing, Frank.
So it's not when the sentence nothing happens, that's not a thing that happens. Nothing happens. There'd have to be something in there for it to happen too, and that could fall away.
see, there is no you, nothing has happened, etc. But if I were to ask whether you are
Nothing isn't a thing.
whether whether you have a green sofa behind you or some guitars on your left hand side, you would respond with a yes, there are. But if I
There's
start asking
guitars, yeah.
about but if I start asking about inner states, you say that okay, we don't want to go there.
Well,
It's
you see,
like
you see,
the
you see,
inner
you keep
self is.
imagination, you keep imagining, really, that is what is being said. So nobody uh, thinks, but there's thinking. Nobody laughs, but there's laughing. It's not two things then. There's just laughing, feeling happy, feeling sad, feeling angry, feeling whatever, just whatever is. It's just the suggestion being made is that there is no one doing anything, no one responding, and no one hearing what's being said here either.
But yet there are guitars on your left, on your left.
So
So where
there's
you
guitars
understand
there.
that.
There's guitars, yeah.
No, but you understand that your left. So for reference, the idea of you does come in, right?
Okay, yeah.
So similarly, for reference, the idea of you can come into your inner states. Like these are on your left. So the emotion that you have, you did get, for example, annoyed 3 days ago with somebody. So there is a reference point. I'm just trying to establish some common language. I mean,
Yeah, well,
I
you
don't
see, there
know.
isn't a common language. There isn't a way to talk about this. There isn't a way to agree. There's nothing to agree on. It is this conversation. So what's to be said about this then? Well, whatever appears to be said, whatever is asked there, and whatever response. That's what this is. That's this. But beyond that, then, is imaginations of all that going on, and the responses are what the responses are. That's it. But if this was something to be agreed about, then we're back in the game of knowledge and knowing and having things in common and all that story. It's just more story. So really the suggestion is that there is just this, just what's happening. Full on this. That's everything.
But to understand such things, such statements,
It's nothing to do with understanding. See, it's absolutely nothing. What could be understood about it? There's just what's appearing to happen. We're back in the game, like I said at the very start, at the intro, was this idea of knowledge. So there's nothing, this is totally useless. There's nothing trying to be imparted. There's no purpose here at all. There's no wish to kind of convey anything or explain anything. There's question and apparent responses then, not answers, totally not answers, just responses.
Yeah, I can recommend the book of Unknowing.
If you were saying something there, Anita, when you caught the end of it.
Can you hear me?
Not really, no. You're quite faint.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep. I can recommend the book of Frank, Unknowing.
I can recommend drinking 8 pints, and that will definitely get rid of the sense of self and all those pesky little thoughts. Clear 'em right up.
Is it not 9 pints? No, it's eight. Eight is the magic number over
We
there.
might have different tolerances, seeing as you're Irish.
So, Frank, can one body brain affect another body brain without the use of words, in silence and without behavior, just sitting, only sitting, etc.?
Well, I mean, everything is energy, so absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's like anything, yeah. It's like attraction doesn't need words. Love doesn't need words. Hate doesn't really need words. Anger, don't know. So, I mean, it's really all just energy, neutrally sort of sounds of a voice and whatever.
Even at a distance. I mean, like a
Well,
thousand.
people seem to talk about that. Yeah, and maybe it can be, yeah, absolutely everything and anything is possible, yeah. But they wouldn't be doing it. They would just be what's happening.
Yeah, but the effect will be can be there.
Who knows? Yeah, okay, yeah, it could be. I don't know.
So, can peace in a body mind have a greater effect at something far away than, for example, anger?
I mean, if somebody is saying that, I don't know. I mean, if somebody is saying that, then that's what they're appearing to say. Okay, great.
No, I'm not appearing to say, I'm asking you whether you think peace. I mean, I can't define peace and
Sure.
anger and everything, every word of the language.
Yeah, okay. But like, what's the question exactly?
Can peace, assuming that we can affect somebody
I don't
far
know.
away,
I don't know. I don't know.
in your view, Frank, are the old books like, the Hindu books or the Gospels, etc., Sufi books, all nonsense or they have value?
Uh, I, I, I don't know. I suppose I liked the Gospel of Saint Thomas. I liked the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. That was some of the others I read. Some of the words in it I liked. That's it. Value, I don't know. I don't know. But I like them. Somebody else might hate them. Somebody else might love them and read them every day. That would be what's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you. if this was about sentences and words, then things would need to be remembered and something would need to be learned. So really nothing happens. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Have a
Good
great rest of the
meeting.
evening. Yeah, it was great fun.
Full on.
Haha.
Thanks.
See you later. Bye.